Magandang araw po, ito si Isabel Pechay. Live tayo mula dito sa Senado at ngayon po kasama natin si Representative Rodge Gutierrez, isa sa mga House prosecutors. Pong, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us and good afternoon to everyone watching po.
At Kong, ngayong araw nakita natin katatapos lamang ni Miss Gina Acosta sa kanyang pag-upo sa witness stand. Ano po so far yung assessment ng prosecution team dun sa naging testimonya nitong si Miss Gina Acosta?
I think it went well for the prosecution. Of course, we've just finished the trial now. We couldn't get a whole picture of it. But if this is just me speaking, I think it went very well, mostly thanks to the senator judges, if I would have to say. Without having to characterize the testimony made today, I think the senator judges made excellent points. It really brought to fore talaga na dapat ang lumalabas dito yung ebidensya at yung dokumento. And I think the senator judges made an excellent point by making Gina Acosta answer it most. Whether, how you would appreciate her answer, that depends on the senator judges. But I think it went very well po.
Isa din sa mga tinalakay kanina yung naging experience ni Miss Gina Acosta as SDO when she served doon pa po sa Davao. Ano po ba yung mga nakita nating patterns sa pag-upo niya bilang SDO noon sa Davao and ngayon na naging SDO siya previously ng OVP?
Well, again, I can't characterize yung pattern, but we can speak of the facts that were mentioned. The first fact that was established was she did admit the withdrawing of the cash and that it was handed to a security officer. That much she admitted. She also admitted that the trusting of the security officer was due to the instruction of the Vice President. And lastly, we have the third fact that was established, none other than by the questioning of the presiding officer, that this was the same pattern po, with in Davao. So it didn't come from me. Yun na po, I think those are the facts that we can ascertain from the questioning, and at least those three facts were repeated po, and I think we could say the same, that it happened also during the tenure of her being SDO in Davao.
I know you're trying so hard not to violate the sub judice rules, especially tomorrow po, inaabangan din natin yung magiging ruling ng presiding officer dyan. But Kong, indulge us. Ano po ba yung sa tingin yung magiging effect? Especially nabanggit nyo yung mga naging comments ng senator judges. There were some senators saying na merong blind loyalty si Miss Gina Acosta. Did this in any way help the case of the prosecution?
I would like to indulge in. More importantly, we do this not only for, but also for the viewers. We really want to make this impeachment understandable po, But unfortunately, until we have further guidelines on the subject, I don't think I can characterize specifically how we should appreciate the testimony. But I think to help guide everyone, siguro po, we just have to take cue on how the senator judges appreciated the opinion, how they took it. And I think there were comments, and I think we can speak freely of the comments, that they said, I think a few senator judges said that wala po tayong makuha dito. I think that speaks a lot of the kind of testimony that was presented. Now, that doesn't mean that wala talagang nakuha, we should take note that evidence, should be taken in the, as jurisprudence always says, taken in context of the human experience. So whether what one says is to be taken face value or it's indicative of something else, I think yun nakita po natin.
Isa din sa mga binanggit po kanina, yan yung mga canned responses, templated, sabi din ng ilang senator judges. Pero kanina napansin din po natin na napaluha si Miss Acosta nung nabanggit yung kanyang asawa. Do you think ito ba ay pinlano? Or base naman dun sa kanyang behavior ay it was really just brought by the circumstance and the question asked?
This is just me speaking, just my appreciation of what happened. I think it would be a mix of all these things. Definitely finding out that something that would happen like that in a family would definitely be nerve-wracking. But added on top of that, the pressure of having to appear as a witness in impeachment court, and also the fact that this was testified to anyway naman, that she is facing cases for this very, for the very matter that she's testifying to. I think all those put together would put a great strain, and together the senator judges, ako personally, my heart goes out to Ms. Acosta. Nakakaawa rin talaga. But yeah.
And Kong Rodge, nakita din natin si Miss Gina Acosta kanina along with the many names na muling pinakita. Ito pong pusa, meron ding belat. Itong mga ito po ba ay ano yung impact na nakikita ng taong bayan na ito yung mga names na ginamit doon sa acknowledgement receipts, especially considering na si Miss Gina Acosta binanggit din naman na confidential. So it's possible na aliases ito since sensitive information yung pinagbayaran.
Yeah, no, again, I can't characterize how we should understand it, no? But I think we just take it for the fact that they, it seems to be from the questioning, the senator judges do seem to find it, for lack of a better term, incredible po, no? Names, and how that would play into the actual process of if that's well within the joint circular. Again, those are conclusions of law. I can't speak, but yeah, just the incredibility perhaps is something that we should take note of, and something that I'm sure the senator judge will take note of moving forward.
Kung nabanggit mo yung joint circular, both the prosecution and the defense team, ito yung ginagamit na basis on most of their arguments. How do we reconcile the difference in interpretation dun sa binabanggit nating joint circular na ginagamit po as guideline for the use of the confidential funds?
Again, the interpretation of whether it's right or how the joint circular would be interpreted is something best left to the senator judges. I really would want to say something about it, but unfortunately, we have to leave it to them. I think we just take our cue from how it was appreciated po, no? I guess what I can do is present the two sides. The joint circular, on one hand, according to the defense, it does not say that it should, it prohibits aliases, or it should be done in a certain manner. On the other hand, for the prosecution, we believe that because it doesn't say and it was not followed, therefore it wasn't followed to the letter, and that's the issue. So whether one interpretation will be taken over the other, I think you have to leave it to the senator judges to decide.
Isa din po sa nabanggit previously ni Senator Judge Ping Lacson was yun nga, very open to interpretation itong joint circular. In Congress, separate the impeachment. Do you think meron pong pwedeng gawin for the other laws that we have na medyo blurry yung nagiging interpretation ng iba't ibang panig?
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, when we had this discussion during the Committee on Good Governance and Public Accountability, we actually filed a bill as a result of those hearings. Before even before the impeachment, nung nandun pa lang po tayo sa Good Gov, we already saw lapses in the joint circular, and we did file a bill in the 19th Congress. I do believe it was refiled also in the 20th. And I understand because of those hearings, the COA itself also committed to reviewing the joint circular po, no? So I think we do have some progress on that front, but it would not excuse po, no, the if any it would not excuse transgressions, if any, from the past acts. So that's what we're doing now in this trial.
See, that's nice to know. Kung meron ding nabanggit kanina, balik ako kay Colonel La Chica, yung importance po ng kanyang mapakita yung proof na sa kanya napunta at na-disburse yung 125 million from Miss Gina Acosta. Bakit po importante na makita yung money trail and paper trail at mapagtugma itong mga ito?
Yeah, I guess I can only say what we've always been saying from the start. For this trial, what's important for us is for the truth to come out through the evidence and the documents, and that includes establishing the chain of custody of sorts. Usually it's applied to drug cases, but here it's the paper trail, as they would say. So I think every piece of fact should be laid out and taken together. It might not mean a lot when taken alone po, no? But that paper trail is important to establishing what ultimately has to be established, the accountability for public funds.
Madami pong nagsasabi online na wag nang tanungin kasi it's confidential nga daw. Can you please reiterate to the public na nakikinig po sa atin, bakit importante na alamin ito kahit confidential or sensitive yung information surrounding confidential activities?
Of course, I can't advocate for the prosecution right now. I can't explain our position, but what I can say is that, yes, the operations are confidential, but accountability is not. So I think we have to leave it at that.
Thank you so much. That was Kong Rodge Gutierrez. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Kong, one final question. Habol ko lang. Si Colonel La Chica po ba, inaasahan natin na umupo siya sa ating witness stand?
Yes, we've mentioned it before in our pretrial brief, in our pretrial brief and in the pretrial order. Colonel La Chica is indeed part of the witness list. As to the timing of his presentation, or if he will be presented at all, there's still no final decision. As you may have noticed, this trial, we go week by week, because that's how the subpoenas are done with the ruling of the impeachment court. So there's no final decision yet, but he is indeed part of the list of witnesses.
Sorry, I'll press further dito sa pag-upo ni Colonel La Chica. Meron po bang anything that's holding the prosecution team back from calling him agad-agad, since even the senator judges are pressing for his pag-upo dito sa witness stand?
Oh, I mean, this is just me speaking. I do agree, actually. I wouldn't say that something is holding the prosecution back, but of course we have to take sometimes we have to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Perhaps one of the things that we should consider is whether it is prime that it be established now, or we want to do it in parallel po, no? Because we have to remember there's OVP and then there's DepEd. So, and these occur at stages. So that's one of the things you go to that's for consideration.
I see. And considering din po yung mga changes sa schedule ng Senate, ilan din sa mga tinatawag is yung pagpapakonte nitong mga witnesses ng magkabilang panig to avoid further delays. Ano naman po yung plano ng prosecution team regarding those?
I think I can say I can say so much that it is part of the prosecution's priorities to really trim down the witness list. We've seen it with the previous article, no? When we had it for grave threats.
Yeah.
And it's a continuing guiding principle for us. We want to make this trial, we don't want to overload the Senate. We don't want to overburden the senator judges with so much information, especially those facts that have already been established or have been admitted by certain witnesses. So definitely we're trying to trim down po. Not so much as to hold facts, but to make, to expedite the proceedings.
Thank you so much, Kong. Again, that was Kong Rodge Gutierrez, isa po sa mga counsels for the House prosecutors. At napakinggan po natin ang naging testimonya ngayong araw ni Ms. Gina Acosta, 17th day ng impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Bukas po magpapatuloy muli ito. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagsama sa amin. Ito si Isabel Pachay, nakatutok mula dito sa Senado.